Hi everyone! In this tutorial, we are going to look at data collection tools, or DCTs, and methods on the MEL Design page in Kinaki. So to navigate there, you'll find this by going to Project, and then Design Project, and you'll see these tabs across the top here: Problem Tree, Project Logic, MEL Design, and Indicators. Click on the third one, MEL Design here, which is where we are. Make sure you are in the project you want to work on by selecting it from the top here. You're in your right organization and select your project from the drop-down. I'm going to first look at the demo project, Reducing Effects of Teenage Pregnancies, to show you a completed data collection tool. So creating your data collection tools is an essential step in designing the MEL for your project, and especially important in Kinaki. We have often seen in our work as MEL professionals that DCTs and methods often get left until last or considered as an afterthought once everything's already set for a project. This can lead to being committed to indicators that you're unsure how you're going to measure, and really put up some time-consuming barriers to meaningful data collection and efficient data collection, really. So therefore, we encourage you to think about your data collection tools and methods early on in Kinaki, right after you've completed your project logic or your logic model. So your goal on the MEL Design page is to think through the process of how you will reach your project's beneficiaries to measure your project's results. So here in the demo project, you can see a fully populated table of the DCTs with all the different categories. So you've got the name of your data collection tool, how many indicators will be measured through it, the type, how often, the frequency, who the data sources or respondents are, the method that this will be collected by, whose responsibility is it, and any notes you may see here. So now I'm in a blank project that I've created, just called Test 2, so I can show you that there's 3 scenarios you may find yourself in when it comes to MEL Design and DCTs. So the first scenario is you want to create your DCTs and methods later on, so not at this stage. And that's with the Create Later button here. Second scenario is you want to use the MEL Design Wizard, which is right here. And the third scenario is you want to create your DCTs and methods manually by the Create Manually button. Let's go through them one at a time and see what they mean. So in Create Later, that first scenario, it may not always make sense to create your DCTs and methods at this stage, particularly if you have no idea of your indicators, like maybe you're just at the proposal stage, you're still unsure about DCTs or beneficiaries. You can skip this step entirely for now and go right into creating your indicators instead. So if you want to do this, select Create Later. So Kinaki creates one quote-unquote TBD DCT in this scenario, to be decided, and brings you right to the indicators page like this. When you go to create your indicators, so we'll go over this in another tutorial, but plus new indicator, this is where you create your new indicators. When you go to do that, you need to select a data collection tool for it, but if I go to do that, there's one here called Data Collection TBD, so I can just use that one. So you can attach all your indicators to the TBD DCT, and then you can come back later and edit them when you're ready. Scenario 2 is using the wizard. So in this scenario, maybe you have some indicators or a draft PMF or some idea of your project, but maybe not a lot of thinking has gone into it. So in this case, we suggest using the MEL Design Wizard. The Design Wizard helps you think through who are the essential data sources for your project. Who do you need to talk to in order to gather information, in order to understand if your project is achieving its goals and targets? Let's take a second to talk exactly about what data collection tools and methods are, because you're going to need to know them to enter them here. Some examples of a data collection tool are survey, a focus group, activity tracking, document reviews, and more. They are the way in which you're going to collect the data you need to say if your project is attaining your targets or not. So for example, if your target for something is to train 100 females on their reproductive rights, so just a number, you can track that information easily just as a number of females who attended a training. But if you want to know if people learned something from the training, you may want to use something more like a post-training survey or focus group to gather more in-depth feedback. So something more than just a number. So some tips on using the wizard are to be specific as you can be. If it's a survey, say who it's with. So a survey with teachers or a survey with kids. Otherwise, Kinaki will think it's the same survey that you are using for various groups. And if you are, that's great and no problem. Like if it's the same survey you're using for both teachers and kids. But also consider if you are doing the survey at the same time for these groups, as that may also give you different results, and you may want to consider making separate DCTs, like if you are using a survey for directly after a training versus 6 months later, you may want to ask different questions, right? Or if you are asking the teachers right away, but the kids later, or something like that. Just some things to think about. So right now, I'm just going to enter in a couple of data sources. Let's just pretend we're collecting data from teachers and we're collecting data from students. Great, you'll see them populate here. The next step is the data collection methods. Survey with teachers. I press enter and it'll populate there. And let's say a focus group maybe with students. And then we'll scroll down to the next step here. So here's the drag and drop functionality in motion. So obviously you can do way more than what I've done here, but this is just an example. We've got our data sources listed here, and then our methods at the top. So I've dragged and dropped the survey with teachers next to the teachers, and I'm going to drag and drop focus groups with students over to the students. And once I'm ready, I'm going to press complete. And here's our nice little data collection tool table. So you can open each one and finalize all the details in the pop-out box, or you can do them later. So that means selecting edit here. Here's the pop-out box for a data collection tool, and you just select update when you're ready. Another little hint, I know I'm talking about tools and methods maybe a bit interchangeably, but your methods are how you do it. So if it's a survey, is the survey going to be on paper? Is the survey going to be online? Is it going to be mobile? Just things like that. So the methods is how you do it. So finally, you can enter your information manually if you already know your beneficiaries and your methods. Just skip the wizard altogether, and you can go right down to data collection tools and open the box directly with this plus data collection tools button. That will bring you to that same data collection tools pop-out box, and you can enter in all the information you may already know and click create when you're ready. Some data collection tools may use all three methods. For example, you might start by skipping this step to build some indicators, and then revisit the tools with the Design Wizard later. And then once your project is up and running, you may use the manual creation to refine your collection methods. It's really all up to you. So please make sure you read through the accompanying sections of the user guide, as well as check out our other tutorials and demo project videos. And if you can't find the answer to what you're looking for, please always reach out to us. We're here to help. Have a great day.